My name is Sabrina Lilu Gonzalez, and I'm coming to you on behalf of the United States Hispanic Business Council. At the USHBC, we're a 501c6 nonprofit association dedicated to elevating the voice of America's small business community. Our association is led by a board of directors of 10 business owners across diverse sectors, and our intent is to bolster the American economy and inspire growth by educating and influencing through commerce, politics, and media. We advocate on behalf of American business builders, job creators, and taxpayers to have a voice in the national narrative, because we understand that in Washington, if you don't have a voice, you simply don't get a choice. The USHBC believes that immigration reform is an economic imperative that is critical to this country's economy and the continued success in the United States. We believe that the business community has a role to play in fostering a long-term solution to this decades-old issue. Central to the functionality of our immigration system is our Border Patrol agents. They are facilitators of international trade, and it is that very trade that supports critical industries that are considered cornerstones for our American economy. And if those who are responsible for facilitating our trade routes are in distress, how can we expect that our economy will not suffer? How can we expect that a solution, and an immediate solution, is not needed? Our nation's food supply relies on the existence of functional guest worker programs and legal migration. Recently, food prices rose over 11% in a 12-month period due to labor shortages and supply chain issues, which have increasingly worsened in the agriculture industry. Furthermore, we're losing roughly 10 million tons of unharvested crops because we don't have enough people to harvest it. Immigrants have historically supported our agriculture industry, and we need to make sure that is still possible. Right now, our immigration system is broken. We're dealing with ungodly backlogs. We're dealing with historic influxes of migrants. In the last year alone, in the last fiscal year, we have seen over 2 million migrants illegally cross this border. We understand that business does not operate in a vacuum, such as the one that's been created as a result of this border crisis that we find ourselves in today. Our Border Patrol agents are paying the price for inaction in Washington, D.C. Since 2009 alone, we have seen 30 Border Patrol agents commit suicide. And in the last 2 years, nearly half of those suicides have happened. This border crisis has evolved into a humanitarian crisis, and our Border Patrol agents are being forced to serve and operate in roles that are not within their job descriptions. And it is time that Washington steps up and gives our Border Patrol agents back their responsibility of protecting our border, that gives our Border Patrol agents the dignity and respect that they deserve. Immigration reform remains a multifaceted issue, and truth be told, there's not a blanketed approach that can really solve all the issues that we're experiencing today. But first things first, we need this administration to really pay attention to our Border Patrol agents and their concerns, their wives, their children, and really understand exactly what it is that's going on at our border. Not just a sanitized visit, but a true visit and a true conversation with those that are living with the everyday realities of our border crisis. We welcome you to join us as we tell the untold stories of our American heroes, the wives of our Border Patrol agents. My name is Sabrina. I'm here on behalf of the United States Hispanic Business Council. And for us, we've been looking at this issue that is our broken immigration system. We've been observing closely exactly what it is that's going on. And a central piece to that has been the safety, has been the concerns around our Border Patrol agents, how they're able to manage this crisis that we find ourselves in. Ultimately, immigration is an economic imperative, and that's the way that we approach it. But there's a human component that we feel that nobody is talking about. There's the very real American lives that are impacted by what's going on day to day, that we keep seeing more and more border crossings. In the past 2 years alone, we've seen millions of border crossings that have just not been something that our country is equipped to respond to. And of course, it's our Border Patrol agents that are paying the price for the inaction that we're seeing by our elected leaders. And so our goal is to really just illuminate the different aspects of this immigration issue, but really just to show America the untold stories of what I consider my heroes, which is each and every one of you. You are the leaders of your families. You are helping your husbands be able to do their jobs. You are the wives of our Border Patrol agents. And so for those watching this segment, we just want to remind them that the identities of the women that are here with us are going to remain concealed. You're not going to be able to see their faces or identify their voices. But we really want to have a conversation where we can understand exactly what it is that's going on our border and how it's affecting our country. So as we get started, I would just like each of you, and we'll start left to right, my left to right. What has this experience of being a Border Patrol wife meant to you? So we'll start over here.
My husband was in the military, and he decided, you know what, after the military, I think I want to do Border Patrol. I mean, what else better to protect the line, protect our borders? I mean, he's always had that heart, and I've always supported him in whatever he's wanted to do. And why not? It's a pride we also have for our husbands. And unfortunately, under these circumstances, it's kind of been taken away. But we love what our husbands do. They love what they do. And it's a sense of service for the community, for the nation. And we support them 100%.
Can you compare for the everyday American that may not know exactly what it's like, to be a Border Patrol wife? What has this looked like 5 years ago? How would you compare it to what it looks like now?
It's so different in how the patrol is respected. Everything that the agents needed was provided for. And I think that's some of the things that a lot of people don't hear or don't really come across, where it's just all of those things that accumulate that really make a difference in administration and our agents and us families. We can tell the difference, and we know the difference when an administration supports you and when an administration does not support you.
Would you mind sharing just one encounter that your husband may have experienced or that you as a family have experienced as a result of being a Border Patrol wife? Something that you would be willing to share just to educate the American people as to what it's actually like?
I did receive a call from my husband that you could hear the terror in his voice, and my husband is very stoic, and all he could tell me was, and it was from an unknown number, I could hear ambulances in the background, and all he said was, "I'm hurt, but I'm fine. I'm going to the hospital. I can't say much. I'll call you when I can." And what do you do? What do you say to that? Sorry.
No, it's okay. Take your time.
I hung up the phone. Not knowing what hospital, because I knew he was in the middle of nowhere. He was miles and miles away from any major city. So I was at a loss, and I waited for hours until he called me. And yes, he was assaulted. He was assaulted by 2 coyotes. And thank God I can sit here and say he's fine, but later on, when those 2 men were apprehended, they had a rap sheet a mile long.
I'm sure that there's everyday stressors that your husbands internalize. And as much as you want to help and have them decompress with you, I mean, to my knowledge, no one here is a trained therapist. I'm not a trained therapist, so there's these different roles that you're having to assume as wives. Is this something that has affected the mental health of your husbands that you've seen? Is there actual resources that are being made available, not just to check the box, but legitimate resources that can be helpful for your husbands?
Mental health issues, have just been exasperated even more now. But as far as I know, for somebody to come and ask, "Hey, are you okay? How's your family? This is what you need to do," it's news to me, and I'm sure it's news to my husband because he would have told me.
With their videos of Be the One, it's just a way of the government telling our agents, be the one to know and find out whether your partner wants to commit suicide. I mean, what a slap in the face. It's just so disrespectful, and there's nothing actually being done that is helpful or even has the potential to make a difference.
They're resilient. They are. We're not, our agents aren't weak. They aren't, this is not like, well, they can't handle it. No, but they are human, and it takes a toll, not just what they see, but also just knowing that they can't do a job that they want to do, but it's almost like their hands are tied. So I think it's more than just like a depression or anything. It's almost angering just to not be able to do what they need to do.
There's been consistency in your statements about their hands being tied, the lack of support that they're feeling from this administration. So I think I know the answer to this next question, but I need to ask it, and I want to hear your impressions. Do you think that this administration has not been supportive of our Border Patrol agents? And why do you think that is?
This administration does not support our Border Patrol, and I believe that it is for political reasons. Because no matter what angle you look at it, we're not doing what's best for our country when it comes to the border. It doesn't matter what political angle you stand on. We're not doing what is best to secure our country.
There's broad assumptions that Border Patrol agents and their wives belong to a certain political party, and it happens to be the one that's opposite of our current administration. Is that a true assumption that most Border Patrol agents are Republican?
From my experiences and knowing the amount of agents that I know and families, I would say, yeah, the majority of us are Republican.
So with that assumption in mind, do you think that this administration is being strategic?
If you look at Biden's visit to the border, what we were seeing, what the media was kind of showing was all the illegals in the streets, right? And it's funny how from one day to the next, those illegals are gone. The streets are clean. So it makes you wonder, why can't he just come and see exactly what's going on? Why does he go just to the wall, but not out to the brush where the agents are working and catching illegals? So yes, I do believe that it's to a certain extent, or I don't know, political. It really is political. And I don't know that if they're doing it on purpose or just because we vote one way or another, but it shouldn't be that way. They should really see what the job is, and it's to secure our border. This isn't just about illegals. This isn't just about the agents. This is America's security. And if we don't take care of it, later on, we're gonna see the repercussions.
Yeah. Has anyone from this administration at all reached out to your husbands or to you? Has anybody asked you about what this experience, the toll it's taken?
No.
That just blows our mind. If Washington is going to legislate responses to what's going on at the border, they first need to understand it. One thing that I love about what each of you has shared is just the respect that your husbands have for the profession, the passion to genuinely serve their country. They don't just view this as a job that they clock into, but this is truly a calling that they're fulfilling, that they're protecting our nation. And so I'm assuming that they're not doing this because they're expecting to receive any accolades or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
But has anyone in the administration at least acknowledged the hard work or the effort of our agents that you've seen?
No. You see the recognition that happened with the January 6th police officers.
You're referencing the January 6th events that took place at the Capitol.
Their bravery, that was amazing, but you don't see that with our agents. And we have many courageous agents that have gone above and beyond, that have endured just terrible things, right? But to not have that same recognition, it's just crazy. It really is crazy. And again, these agents, they're not looking for a medal. They're not looking for, really anything. But it would be nice that the way we recognize others, it would be nice for them to be recognized.
From a morale perspective, how has the morale changed from where it was in the previous administration that you were saying that would visit the border to now?
It's at an all-time low. They're being spread thin. These agents need to be out in the field, and they're busy processing in detention centers, being held up there. It's a lot. Their hands are being tied. They're not being allowed to protect our border and do their jobs.
We've gone through Obama, Trump, and now Biden. We've seen how having a more positive administration towards the patrol, how big of a difference that makes. Mm-hmm. We've seen it. When administration does support the patrol with the funding, with even just recognition, with even just showing up.
To that point, President Biden finally made his first visit to the border. Our president has been in office. He was previously senator, vice president, and now president. And this was the first true visit, which we're learning now that it's more of a sanitized visit. Mm-hmm. But this was the first true visit that our president made to the border. How does it make you feel that it really did become a sanitized event where they relocated folks on the scene.
We would like to see a change. We would like to see just a small change, that they want to do something, that they want to at least know what's happening or see, and with their own eyes what's happening. But we don't see that.
We recognize that this is not a Republican issue. This is not a Democrat issue. And all of America is really feeling the effects of what is going on at the border. It no longer is contained in just the border communities. And so we are of the belief that there's still hope for this administration to get it right. We've sent a letter to the president asking for him to collaborate with the business community. We think that the business community has a lot of solutions to offer. But if you could speak directly to the president and let him know what your thoughts are, what would you say?
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all citizens of this country. We believe that we must show some respect to our leaders, and we hope that he will just listen and just show up, send people. I mean, just do whatever it takes to really find out what's happening. We just hope for the truth to be said, for our leaders to know what's happening, and then go from there. It shouldn't be political. Let's hope. I want to hope that not just the president, but the administration as well as Congress, that they get to work. They were chosen by the people to represent, to lead. And if they're not leading, I mean, America will be lost, truly.
I would invite our vice president, president, press secretary, and Mayorkas to stand in the middle of a tent city. Stand in the middle of a tent city and tell me that everything you say in the news is true.
I agree. I challenge the Biden administration to come down here, to come down not just to El Paso, but Eagle Pass, RGV sector, and talk to the agents who are actually on the ground in the processing centers, at the detention centers, at the tent cities, even out in the brush. And I also challenge him and his administration to come talk to the families of those agents who have taken their lives during this crisis. I mean, it's gut-wrenching for them not to be acknowledged and supported, and I challenge you.
Do you feel threatened to speak out? Do you think that you're putting your
Absolutely.
husband's
Yes.
careers on the line
Absolutely.
for speaking out?
I mean, the conversation has to be had. To walk around like that and not having a voice is rough. And all our agents want to do, all my husband wants to do, is his job.
I've had cartels break into my home. So that means that they tracked my car, they tracked my house. So we always have to watch our backs. We always have to know that at some point in time, we can be attacked or threatened. And yeah, it's unfortunate that we have to have and speak up under these circumstances. But in the reality, this is the life that we live. And yes, we have chosen our life. I believe this is a topic worth speaking out over. I believe this is a topic, the safety of our country, it is worth it. If I have to double up on my protection, that's fine. I'll take it. But I believe that this fight here is worth it.
Yeah. And we're thankful for that. We're thankful that each and every one of you has taken this step to speak out and share with the American public your stories. And we hope that every single person, including everyone in the White House, all throughout Washington, D.C., is listening intently to your voices. So thank you for stepping up. We know it's a risk, but we think it's time that the American people hear from you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.